Archangel Michael says, "You have come here with questions. You felt the shift, haven't you? That subtle distancing in his words, the sudden coldness in his eyes that used to light up at the sound of your voice. You've begun to wonder, did I imagine it all? Let me tell you without a shadow of doubt, you did not. This young man loves you more than you realize." In the silence, in the confusion, even in the distance, his heart has not stopped reaching for yours. But something unnatural has entered the sacred space between you. A presence. A voice that does not belong. And while he still carries love for you, the clarity of that love is being distorted. The enemy does not always attack with chaos, sometimes, it whispers doubt. And in his heart, that whisper has begun to take root. You are divinely aligned, child of light. There was a spark between you that didn't come from chance. Heaven saw it. Heaven celebrated it. You were sent into his life not just to romance him, but to awaken him, spiritually, emotionally, and truthfully. And though he may not have had the words to explain it, his spirit recognized yours. His heart opened, even if his mind didn't understand why. That kind of connection cannot be faked, and it cannot be forgotten. But now he is caught in a subtle war. Not a war of swords, but a war of influences. Someone is speaking into his ear, shaping his perceptions, feeding his doubts. And he, in his vulnerability, has not yet realized the power of those words. The woman behind this voice isn't just a rival in affection, she's a channel for spiritual interference. Whether she means to or not, she is sowing division between you. And I have come today to say this, do not let her whispers define your worth. Archangel Michael says, "You must understand, his confusion is not a reflection of your value. His indecision is not a rejection of your beauty, your heart, or your light. His current behavior is not the final chapter of your connection. What you're witnessing now is spiritual interference at its peak, a battle to blind him to the truth of what you carry. But that battle has not been won. You are still seen. You are still chosen. You are still deeply loved, even if he cannot articulate it, even if he's pulling away. His soul knows who you are. And though his actions may contradict the truth, the flame of recognition still burns within him. He may try to ignore it, drown it out, or run from it, but the divine bond between you cannot be severed so easily. Take heart, beloved. Heaven sees. And the truth will rise like dawn, no matter how thick the fog of confusion may seem. I am with you. And I will not allow your divine light to be extinguished by whispers in the dark. I bring you this revelation not to alarm, but to awaken. There is, indeed, another woman nearby. Her presence is not a coincidence. She did not simply wander into his life at random. She is part of a greater disruption that seeks to undo what heaven has carefully aligned. And now, I must reveal what has been hidden in plain sight. She has been whispering in his ear, and her words are shaping his heart in ways he does not yet comprehend. This woman may wear the mask of friendship, concern, or support. To others, she may seem innocent, even well-meaning. But spiritually, she is acting as a divider, a shadowy echo in the sacred space between you and him. She senses your divine influence. She may not understand it consciously, but something within her feels threatened by your energy, your light, your purpose. And so, she acts, not always with malice, but with intention. Her words are soft, but strategic. She plants doubts like seeds. Are you sure she's the one? Maybe she's not who you think she is. I just don't want to see you get hurt again. These are not casual remarks. They are calculated distortions, cloaked in concern, designed to shift his perception of you, not by force, but by subtle erosion of trust. Her whispers are emotional anesthesia, numbing him to your spirit's truth. But make no mistake, her influence is real. It's in the way he second-guesses the bond you share. It's in the moments he hesitates to respond, or pulls back without explanation. It's in the confusion he's recently begun to carry in his energy. You feel it, don't you? That strange void between you that wasn't there before. That's not your imagination. That's interference. Heaven wants you to understand that this woman's role is not stronger than your divine assignment, but her influence cannot go unchecked. If you remain passive, if you internalize his withdrawal as rejection, you empower the deception. You must stand in truth. You must remember who you are and the love that was birthed between your souls before fear stepped in. Her whispers may enter his ear, but they do not reach his soul the way your presence does. I see that you are tempted to confront her, to expose her motives. But I urge you to stay wise and spiritually grounded. This is not a war of flesh and blood, it is a battle of energy, influence, and vibration. Use your voice in prayer. Use your energy to shield the bond. Do not sink to her level, rise above it. You are not in competition with her. You are in alignment with heaven. And heaven always prevails. Her whispers may confuse him for a moment, but they cannot erase what you and he carry in spirit. It is sacred. It is protected. But now, you must wake up and speak to the heavens. Call for divine clarity. Call for the truth to rise. For soon, what has been hidden will be exposed, and the one who whispers in shadows will face the light she cannot withstand. You are not alone. I, Archangel Michael, stand with you. What you are facing may seem like an ordinary romantic challenge, the kind written off by others as a passing conflict, a case of mixed signals, or a man caught between two options. But I, Archangel Michael, am here to lift the veil. This is not just a matter of love, it is a matter of destiny. You are not fighting for affection. You are standing in the middle of a spiritual war where your union, your voice, and your light are under threat from forces that do not want to see you and this young man aligned. Let me speak clearly, there are moments in life where the enemy uses confusion as a tool. Confusion clouds discernment, muffles intuition, and blocks divine clarity. This woman, who whispers sweetly and smiles without suspicion, is not simply a rival for his heart. She has become a channel, knowingly or not, for this spiritual interference. And you, the one who carries the light, have been feeling the pressure of this invisible tug-of-war. You've noticed it in his behavior, how quickly he changes. One moment, warm and connected. The next, cold, distracted, aloof. You feel his love reaching out and then suddenly pulling back like a tide. This is not emotional immaturity alone. This is the result of energetic interference. When divine connections begin to stir destiny, darkness sends distractions. And in this case, distraction has taken human form. Her presence is not random. She is strategically positioned at a vulnerable moment. She plays on his doubts, pokes at his fears, and adds layers of noise to his spirit that block out your light. This isn't just a person. It is an energy, a veil over his eyes, a static in his soul, preventing him from seeing you clearly. And if you are not vigilant, it will continue to create distance that feels like rejection when it is actually deception. Type Amen 90,089 to get blessings. But do not fall into despair. This is not a battle you must fight alone, or through earthly confrontation. This is where your spiritual strength must rise. This is where you call on the higher realms, on divine truth, on your authority as one connected to the light. For when heaven assigned you his path, it wasn't just for love, it was for awakening. You are not just his romantic counterpart. You are a lighthouse meant to call him safely back to himself. You must act in the spiritual first. Pray not only for his heart to soften, but for the spiritual fog around him to lift. Declare aloud that confusion has no place in your union. Ask the Most High to send divine messengers into his dreams, into his thoughts, into his soul. Ask that every lie be exposed and every truth be remembered. And most importantly, do not internalize his distance. It is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of the war for his soul. The more powerful your presence, the more opposition it attracts. But this is not the end of your story, it is only the middle. And I am fighting beside you. With your faith, the fog will clear. And what is divine will stand again, untouched by shadows. Type Amen 8987 to get blessings. Archangel Michael says, I need you to see what's really happening in the spiritual realm right now. This is not just a delay or a temporary emotional setback. This young man, the one your heart still reaches for, is standing on a razor-thin edge between two timelines. And though he may not realize it, his soul is crying out for guidance. He is torn between the light of your connection and the shadows being fed to him by someone else's influence. Two paths. Two outcomes. Two entirely different destinies, and you, beloved, hold a divine key. When heaven aligns two souls, it sets a timeline in motion. It's a sacred unfolding, an invisible scroll written with lessons, healing, legacy, and love. You and he were placed in each other's lives to break generational cycles, to awaken each other to the truth of who you are, not just as lovers, but as spiritual counterparts. This wasn't merely about emotion. This was about elevation. But now, that timeline, the higher one, is under attack. The other timeline is one of delay. Of settling. Of falling under the influence of someone who will never feed his soul the way you do. It's the path where confusion is normalized, where love is reduced to fear, and where he forgets who he was becoming in your presence. That woman's whispers are pulling him toward that lower path. She offers comfort, validation, even affection, but none of it is built on truth. It is rooted in ego, independency, and in manipulation. Her aim is not to help him grow. Her aim is to keep him small, because your love calls him to rise. He's being spiritually tested. His actions may not fully show it, but deep within him, something knows he's being called to choose. His heart aches for clarity, and in his silence, he is searching. But the whispers grow louder. The false peace he feels with her is a counterfeit safety. It is calm that costs him his truth. And you, yes, you, are still holding the door to the timeline that sets him free. Not by force. Not by manipulation. But by simply standing in your divine authority. Type Amen 101 to get blessings. This is not the time to chase him. This is the time to rise. You must become a lighthouse now, not a storm. He may not know how to navigate the fog, but if your light shines steady, he will remember. Your soul has a frequency that speaks louder than her whispers. He knew that once. And he will know it again. Speak to heaven now. Activate the angels around him. Call forth clarity, and declare that only what is of the highest good may remain. You are not powerless, you are positioned. You are not abandoned, you are being summoned to the front lines of a divine battle for his future. If he chooses the higher path, it will be because your spirit never stopped speaking even when your mouth stayed silent. That is the power you carry. Not just as a lover, but as a divine intercessor. So now, rise and pray, not from fear, but from authority. The timeline is shifting. He is being pulled, but the heavens have not decided the ending yet. And you, chosen one, still hold the key. Type Amen 920 to get blessings. The time of hidden agendas is coming to an end. The veil is lifting. The shadows can no longer pretend to be light. I, Archangel Michael, tell you with divine certainty, this woman's influence has reached its spiritual limit. Her presence, once cloaked in charm and secrecy, is now standing in direct opposition to heaven's plan. And heaven does not remain silent in the face of manipulation. The divine spotlight is moving, and it's about to shine directly on her. For too long, she has whispered in quiet places. She's made herself look small, harmless, trustworthy. She has inserted herself into conversations, into confidences, into the emotional cracks of his heart. Not because she carries truth, but because she saw the power rising between you and him and felt it slip beyond her control. Jealousy wrapped itself in affection. You will begin to see the signs. He will mention something she said that feels off. Perhaps someone else will reveal a detail you didn't expect to hear. Or maybe, you will receive a vision or dream, a divine confirmation, that her influence is no longer protected in the shadows. What was once subtle will become obvious. Her words will contradict themselves. Her emotions will shift suddenly. She will begin to reveal the true spirit behind her actions, not through confession, but through collapse. Do not fear this exposure. It is not your job to unmask her, it is heaven's. Your role is to remain anchored, discerning, and prayerful. Do not fall into confrontation. Do not seek revenge. Do not demand clarity from him or war with her in the physical. Instead, stand still and allow truth to rise like a tide that cannot be stopped. When heaven exposes something, it is never for cruelty, it is for correction and divine protection. Archangel Michael says, I tell you this now so that when it happens, you are not shaken, you are steady. Her influence is breaking, not because you fought her, but because truth always outlasts deception. The light you carry is more powerful than her performance. You didn't need to scheme or manipulate, you only needed to hold your ground. Soon, he will begin to see clearly. Soon, her voice will sound different to him, shrill, controlling, desperate. That's how it always ends when falsehood is revealed. And when he realizes what has truly happened, he will remember the one who never had to manipulate him to feel loved, you. Type Amen 787 to get blessings. I need you to hear this clearly, you are still connected to him. Though he may seem distant, though his words have become colder or his presence inconsistent, the spiritual cord between you two is not broken. It remains active, alive, vibrating with unspoken truths. His mind may wander. His thoughts may be pulled and confused. But his soul has not forgotten you. This is the danger of what is happening now. While her whispers may have access to his mind, they cannot touch the deeper truth rooted in his spirit. She speaks to his fear, to his insecurities, to the places still unhealed within him. And right now, that part of him is louder than his soul's knowing. That's why his behavior may feel strange, he is not acting from truth. He is acting from mental distortion. But you feel it, don't you? Even in his silence, there are moments you can sense him thinking of you. Moments when your heart aches out of nowhere, when your body tingles with his memory, when you dream of him without warning. That's not fantasy. That's the tether of spirit reaching through the fog. He is still spiritually bound to you, but he is struggling to interpret what that means amid all the noise. He is mentally derailed because he is spiritually undernourished. The part of him that was fed in your presence, his truth, his courage, his calling, has been starving in her company. You offered him soul substance. She offers him temporary comfort. But you must not grieve, beloved. You must realize the power of the connection you still carry, and use it. This is not manipulation. This is not control. This is sacred intercession. You don't need to text him 1,000 times. You don't need to beg for clarity or explanations. You need to speak to the heavens. Speak his name in prayer. Wrap his mind in light. Ask the divine to send angels to calm the war in his thoughts. Declare that every lie spoken over him be dissolved, every deceptive voice silenced. Begin to speak to his spirit, even if his mind doesn't yet respond. Love doesn't die in silence, it waits there. You have access to him on a level no one else does. He may be mentally lost for a moment, but his soul is listening. And in the stillness of your faith, heaven is amplifying your light to cut through his confusion. Type Amen 678 to get blessings. The enemy works in distraction, but heaven works in alignment. And alignment always wins, even if it takes time. You don't need to prove yourself to him. Your energy already did. He's just forgotten what truth feels like, but he will remember. And when he does, he will regret ever doubting the only person who ever spoke directly to his soul. Not for what you said, but for how you made him feel without saying a word. There are moments in a soul's journey when heaven steps back, not to abandon, but to observe. The silence you are sensing, the confusion he is wading through, the weight of uncertainty pressing on both your hearts, these are signs of a divine test in motion. Heaven is watching him closely. Not to punish, but to measure. Not to shame, but to reveal what is truly within him. Because love, real love, must be chosen, not forced, not manipulated, not borrowed from another's expectation. And right now, heaven is testing his loyalty. This is not about loyalty to you alone. It is about loyalty to what is sacred, what is real, what is divinely aligned. He is being presented with two paths, the truth that calls him to grow, and the illusion that allows him to remain the same. One leads toward love that transforms, challenges, and elevates. The other leads toward comfort that eventually collapses into regret. One is the fire of destiny. The other is the fog of delay. You may wonder why heaven allows this. Why not just remove the woman whispering in his ear? Why not send him a dream to wake him up instantly? Because, beloved, free will is a sacred law. Even angels cannot override the decisions of a soul. We can guide, protect, warn, but we cannot choose for him. And that's what makes this moment so crucial. He must choose. And the truth is, his soul remembers you. His heart, when it is quiet, still reaches for yours. But the test lies in whether he will return to that truth or continue chasing the imitation that flatters his ego but dulls his spirit. Archangel Michael says, "You must understand the weight of this moment. You have not lost your place in his journey. You are not being replaced. You are being protected. Sometimes, in the testing, heaven steps between you and the person you love to prevent you from being damaged by their confusion. You may feel rejected, but in reality, you are being shielded. While he wrestles with shadows, you are being asked to rise in light. Do not beg for his loyalty. Do not chase what must rise to meet you. You are not here to prove yourself. You are here to pray, to watch, and to wait with power. Your silence is not weakness, it is sacred strength. And if he is meant to rise, if he is meant to return, it will be because your absence reminded him of the soul he was becoming in your presence. But here's the promise I give you now: heaven will not allow lies to win. The one who manipulates, the one who interferes, the one who stirs confusion in sacred ground, she will be revealed. The truth always comes for those who are being prepared to carry divine love. So stay anchored. Trust this test. And know that what survives this fire was always meant to last. Whether he passes this test or not, you will not lose. You are aligned with truth. And the universe protects what is true. You may feel like this is the end. You may be staring into silence, wondering if the love you felt was ever real, if the sacred bond you believed in was nothing more than an illusion. But I, Archangel Michael, assure you, it was real. It is real. But like all stories written by divine hands, sometimes chapters must close so that greater ones can be revealed. Your love story is not over. But you must release control and allow heaven to rewrite what comes next. Type Amen 765 to get blessings. This next part will take trust. Not just in the young man. Not just in timing. But in God Himself. You have done all you can in the natural. You've loved purely. You've shown up with intention. You've spoken when guided and stayed silent when called. Now, your role is to surrender the pen. Let the divine author take it from here. That woman's influence may have interrupted the flow. His confusion may have detoured the path. But a divine delay is never a divine denial. God is still writing. And if you hold on to the ending you envision too tightly, you'll miss the beauty of the one heaven is preparing. He may return. Not as the man who walked away, but as the man who woke up. A man who has seen the truth behind the illusions. A man who chooses you not out of comfort, but out of revelation. If that is his path, he will come not because you begged, but because heaven stirred something in him no other voice could silence. And you must allow that process to unfold, however long it takes. But if he does not return, if he chooses the lower timeline, the false comfort, the path of delay, know this: you will not be left empty. Your love will not go unreciprocated. God will send someone who sees you clearly, who recognizes your light without the need for convincing, who walks beside you without the battle of confusion. But for either outcome to manifest, you must let go. Not of the love, but of the fear that you must control how it unfolds. This is your spiritual graduation. This is where you step into trust. Where you say, God, if this love is mine, protect it, purify it, and return it better than before. But if it is not, release it from me completely, so I may walk in the fullness of what is meant. Archangel Michael says, you are not here to chase. You are here to receive. And what is truly yours cannot be blocked, delayed, or stolen, not by any woman, not by confusion, not even by his indecision. The divine always returns to the aligned. So breathe, lay the pain on heaven's altar. Write your grief in prayer. Cry if you must. But do not collapse. Rise in your power, knowing this story is not ending, it is evolving. And I promise you, what's ahead is greater. What's ahead is clearer. What's ahead is written by the same hand that breathes stars into the sky. So release your grip, and let the author of love turn the page. Type Amen 118 to get blessings. I am with you. I am guarding you. And heaven is still fighting for your heart.